night. 2 races to go. We are here in Las Vegas for TGP2, and tonight we will find out who is going to win the final season, for at least now. I'm going to find out who will win the final TGP2 championship tonight. We've got 5 drivers who we will be watching. We've got CJ, who is missing, well, since to bring up the fact that he's missing the Europa League final for this race. Dan Morris, his wife's birthday, he's missing that to race here. Jess, she's, I don't think she's missing out on anything. 7 points behind Dan Morris, the nearest rival for Dan Morris. And Deck, it's quite far behind, but don't count him out. Anything can happen this season. It has been chaos, and we are going to find out who will be your title winner. I hope you can all hear me. I'm having to use my old PlayStation. Oops, sorry. I'm going to use my old PlayStation to do the stream, to make sure I get a stream, because stuff going on at home. So, nevertheless, I believe we're live. I'm hoping this is working. And yes, so let's watch on board with Jess, who is fighting Dan Morris for the title. She is the closest competitor to Dan Morris in this championship fight, as she goes on to the second, well, the longest straight out of all the straights on this circuit. Lewis Craig has put the first lap in of 1:31.9, so that's the first lap we have had set. What will Jess be able to do though? I imagine she has been practicing, as will all of the top 5 drivers. And yeah, so what can she do? She comes across the line. Fastest at the moment at 1:31.7. We will now cut to Dan Morris, who is also on the long straight, as he goes into the final 2 corners. A little bit messy on the rear end there, but nothing too much, as he goes into what will be turn 17 corners around this circuit, and it is fastest lap for Dan Morris in the Alpine at 31.4 is what he can do. We will now cut to CJ as he starts his lap, and he has a nice little slipstream from his teammate. So we're going to watch on board with CJ throughout his lap as he goes into turn 1. Misses the inside apex. That might be the logic going forward, as Baz got a bit wide. There's going to be a bit of dirty air really from CJ here. This might not work the way Haas would have liked it, as he goes in to turn 5. Quite a hard braking zone into the next corners, turn 6 and 7. You really have to be precise on where you brake, because otherwise you can just go straight on, corner cut, and that will be your qualifying lap invalidated. But he seemingly has successfully made it through those bunch of corners as he goes into turn 10 and then 11. Again, hard braking here. You can corner cut the curb a little bit on the left. He chooses to take it safely. You don't want to run that curb too wide, too much. You will lose the rear end, and it would be good nights for you. So, CJ then, as he opens his DRS, and quite a bit of battery left, but he's going to end up without any deployment because he's ran out of energy as he goes into turn 14, 15, 16. That was a bit deep from the Haas driver. Very much been the title contender throughout this whole season. He's used all his deployment, but will that matter as he comes across the line? Only puts in P4 at 1:32.0 at the moment. He is, I was going to say, slowest out of all the, well, he's the slowest out of all the championship contenders as far who have set a lap. As I'm watching board with Darky very quickly as he have really aggressively turned into the corner there. Don't be overheating your fronts too much, so then again it's the final bit of the lap. As Darky goes P2 at 1:31.6. Could he be a bit of a worry for our championship contenders? Could he throw a little curveball for our title contenders? Deck then goes into turn 1. Let's watch on board with the Aston Martin driver. He's got a lot of traffic there, and I wouldn't be surprised if he is screaming as Kaya and who was the other Red Bull? Oh, Jess. Kind of got in the way a little bit there. I don't think it's anything which would be penalisable, but definitely would have not done him any favours, as he's going to need a lot of luck and chaos behind him. He's really relying on everyone else's mistakes. He needs, I think it's first and second, with all the others like getting like fifth or sixth or something. So he's going to need a little bit of a miracle, but the season has been so chaos that I wouldn't count it out. As Deck goes into turn 12, oh, a bit loose on the rear end. It says purple sector 2 though. He's coming up behind some Ferraris here. I do wonder if that might help him with a cheeky bit of slipstream. Nah, a bit too far ahead. One of them actually move out of the way for Deck. As he comes through turn 14, 15 and 16, pretty neatly done there from the Aston Martin. I think that's the cleanest we've seen any of the drivers do it. As he burns his last bit of ERS, they all seem to want to run out of deployment. Going across the line here, and he goes P6, slowest out of the top 5. So, yeah, we will now cut to Lewis Craig then. We missed his lap at the start of the session. I do apologise for that. But yeah, let's see what Lewis Craig can do in the McLaren. He is a little bit behind in the championship. He is, I think, 15 points, 14 points behind Dan Morris, but definitely don't count him out. You know, it only causes Dan and Jess and CJ to have one massive crash, and he can be in it again. So, yeah, don't take them out of take him out of the equation, but what we do take out of the equation is that lap. He will now, I imagine, peel into the pit lane. He does. And we'll put on a new set of tyres, and we'll cut to Jess, who at the moment is third place, 3 points, 3 tenths behind Dan Morris. She is, I should have done the maths for this. This is awful planning from me. 5 points behind Dan Morris. So I'm not too sure. There's been rumours that Dan will be missing the second race, which could be crucial for him, could cost him the whole title. As Jess goes through the final few corners, could she be your champion by the end of the night? Where will she qualify provisionally? P2, a 31.5, good lap from Jess, but it's not pole position. Let's watch on board. Who's further on the track? CJ again. Looks like we could be having a bit of Alpine teamwork going on here. I think Alpine's playing. Whoa, that was contact. I think Jack might have clipped into the back of Dan then. It looked like there was a little bit of a collision, and in fact Dan Morris has ended up in the escape road. That was very bizarre. Where does Jack go in the end of this then? He improved on his lap, but he didn't actually move anywhere, so it was all for nothing really. Let's watch on board with Dan then. We've watched on board with all the other championship protagonists. And Dan at the moment is leading the championship, and at the moment he is looking, well, if he carries on like this, could win it tonight. I don't know if he can win it in Las Vegas. He'll definitely need a lot of luck to do so, but at the moment he is flying through Sector 1 into what is now Sector 2. He does have a Haas ahead of him, that is CJ himself. Will CJ maybe be a moving chicane? I am expecting a little bit of chaos tonight, maybe you know, a few cheeky dive bombs. I tell you what, CJ might be accidentally giving his rival a little bit of a slipstream. I don't know if I think he's on a lap himself, but Dan has maybe been very perfect with where he's placed his car. Might end up with a bit of slipstream coming through the final few corners if he nails it. So let's see who will be on provisional pole. Well, CJ's invalidated, so it won't be him. Will Dan Morris be able to improve on his lap? Doesn't, he peels into the pit lane. With 5 minutes to go, these guys are burning through their softs quite quickly. Is Lewis? I believe he is gone for another lap. Let's see what the McLaren driver can do. The Scotsman, he has been quite unlucky this season. Obviously broke his, I think it was his thumb earlier on this season. That could have cost him the championship earlier on the season. Obviously it's not his fault. Well, from what I know, it's not his fault. Yeah. Let's see what Lewis can do then, if he can maybe make it up and have that flex of, I broke my finger and I still managed to win the title ahead of you guys. Because let me tell you, I wish I could flex that. Well, without breaking my finger, I think that wouldn't be very nice. But yeah, let's see what Lewis can do in the McLaren. Final few corners, pretty nicely done there. We're going to watch on the TV cam on his car as he comes through the final few corners. Is it going to be provisional pole position? It is a 31-2. There's 3 minutes left in the session. If he can be quick about it, he can maybe go in the pits and get another set of tyres. But for now, that is a pretty impressive lap from Lewis. He's burning his ERS again. So yeah, I think he's pushing to maybe get out onto the circuit again, as this is where we've got the likes of CJ, who will be pushing for laps. He's at the moment 6th place, not the place you want to be right now. Yeah, let's see what we can do in the final few minutes of qualifying. Will CJ be able to get pole position? In the moment 6th place, not where he wants to be. Warming up his tyres. Obviously, sometimes this circuit, it can be tragic in terms of the heat of your tyres. He is very much taking a very, very, very slow warm-up for that. He's got 2 minutes 35 to go. I wonder if he's realised that, as it stands, he's going to be in a bit of a bad position, because when he starts his lap, he's going to have traffic everywhere. So I do wonder if he's maybe realising that he has picked a bad spot, or he's given his teammate Bazo a slipstream. Actually, this for some reason didn't click in my head. Maybe that was the reason. My only thing I'm wondering is why he would do that so late on in the lap. I don't know, I still think this is not the best choice from CJ coming out this late, early, but we'll see. Let's see what will happen. He goes into the final few corners. You can't weave or slow down anymore from here. This is where you need to pick up the pace and start your lap. So here goes CJ then. Final lap in TGP2 qualifying for him, for now anyways. He goes into turn 1. Clip the apex on the inside. Nicely done, I'd say. Maybe a little bit more curb. A little bit loose on the rear end there as he goes into turn 4. Open the DRS wide. Lewis Craig, that is his lap. That's the best he can do. 31-2 is what he can do. Is CJ into turn 5. Runs the curb on the inside. Clips the inside curb on the right. That was neatly done from CJ. What's his sector 1 split? 0.001 up on his lap. Not the best improvement. as he goes into turn 7, 8, and will go into turn 9. Nicely done, maybe a bit more curve on the corner, but neatly done so far. Into turn 10, and then it swoops to turn 11. You have to brake while turning, which is quite rare in F1 these days. Flip the apex on the inside, avoid the wall on the right. He now has his teammate Bazza right ahead of him, and let me tell you, it is looking like a beautifully positioned slipstream from the Haas guys. These two have worked so well this season together, and it looks like they are working well again this season. CJ goes into turn 14. Don't mess up the braking here, and it has been nicely done from CJ. Sometimes the slipstream can affect your braking going into the corner, but CJ has nailed that, I'd say. Good teamwork between the two Hasses, but will it be enough for pole position? It will not. It will only be P3 for CJ, a 31.5. Who is next? It is Dan Morris. 33 milliseconds up on his lap. As it stands, will not be enough in this session as he goes through turn 14. Oh, that was really loose from Dan Morris. He's facing the wrong way. That is his qualifying over. Highest he can start is P2. It's all up to Jess. Can she get herself on the front row of the grid? 72 milliseconds up on her lap time will only put her, well, put her P2 actually, which wouldn't be too bad for Jess. She opens her DRS. She's ran out of ERS nearly. Has a little bit of deployment actually, so not all bad news for Jess as she goes into turn 14, 15 and 16. Can she do it nicely? She's done that pretty nicely, at least better than what Dan Morris did, as she is on the final straight. What can Jess do? Can she put it on the front row of the grid into the final corner? What's it going to be? It's pole position from Jess. She takes pole position unless CJ can produce anything. I don't think he can. I think that is pole position. What can Chris Johnson do? He's 5 tenths up on his lap, puts himself P5. I think it is pole position. It is pole position for Jess. What a lap from the Red Bull driver. And I'm sure she is going to be very happy with that. She starts off the night with a bang. And that is what you love to see. Casper saying what a lap for Jess. And I absolutely agree with you. She starts on pole in the Las Vegas Grand Prix here in TGP2. Now that does change a lot of things. Lewis, by the way, P2, good result for him, I'd say. But wow, everyone in the chat saying congratulations. Is also Joseph Sayers 600 TGP2 start. I've just found out. So Jess on pole position here in Las Vegas from Lewis Craig, from Dan Morris. CJ in 4th, got a lot of work to do from 4th. Chris Johnson 5th with Darky 6th. Daniel Wilnut P7. Deck. He's going to have to work hard in the race to get himself up into the podium spots. Jake Warrior in P9th. Bazza, great slipstream work from Haas. Puts himself 10th. Jack Craig 11th. Dark Shadow 12th. Ivan Tonsink 13th. And Stereogram 14th without a lap. But Jess, by 8 milliseconds, takes pole position here in Las Vegas. And this is looking to be an exciting night indeed. So, Dan says he is nowhere. Setup is horrible, so going to be fun. But, wow, I don't think Jess has actually had pole position this season. But, oh, it's her first ever league racing pole. Even better for Jess. You'd love to see it. So, could this be her first, I think it might be her first league racing championship? Who knows, we'll find out. It would be good to have her trophy in her name on the trophy tonight. Obviously we don't give out physical trophies, but virtually she'll have her name on the website, and that is enough. It is Jess's first ever TGP2 pole position. I believe she did say it's her first league racing pole, which makes it even better to do it on the final night in TGP2 where she can win the title. It's a perfect start for the Red Bull driver. And it is indeed what a time to do it, as we wait for the drivers to select their strategy, and we will get going very, very shortly under the lights of Las Vegas. Here we go then. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights in Las Vegas. We go in Las Vegas. Who gets the better start between Jess and Lewis? We cut to turn 1. Jess has had a great start. She goes into turn 1. Dan Morris and CJ going side by side. CJ, brilliant start. He gets past Dan Morris immediately. Up to P4. Deck, meanwhile, up to P6. Good start for Deck as he gets away from the traffic. He just needs to get past Bazza, and he is back into the top 5 drivers in the championship. But Jess leads us away here in Las Vegas. Lewis, though, looking quite close to Jess, maybe looking for an unexpected move on the Red Bull driver, but so far it is all good for Jess as she takes us away. Lewis, very, very close to Jess. He seems to have got those tyres working straight away, but he's going to sit back and wait on the straight where slipstream is very crucial. Kaya already out of the race. Not a great start to the night for Kaya, but here we go onto the straight. It looks like Lewis could have quite an easy move, but here goes CJ. He's in the running here as they go 3 wide on the straight. Can he make the move on Lewis as well? They're all burning their ERS trying to defend. CJ down the inside, and that puts him into the lead of the Las Vegas Grand Prix. As Lewis, he's not going to give this up though as he goes onto the straight. CJ nearly shoving him into the pit lane there. Very hard racing as we start the race. Jess down into third then. That's not what she wanted, but it's only lap 2 out of 13 as Lewis getting on the traction much better than CJ. Just can't find a gap to get past him though, as he is sitting behind in the slipstream, probably waiting for the DRS on the next straight. Jess maybe having a little look on Lewis. Oh, that's messy from CJ, a little bit out of traction there, a bit out of grip, and he's lucky. Oh, Lewis gonna go around the outside. He can't make that move surely. No, he can't. But CJ getting a bit messy on the corners, and he's lucky to have kept that out of the wall. I believe he kept that out of the wall, and that keeps him in the fight of the championship then, so he can breathe. And we'll carry on with the race as Lewis Craig trying to go around the outside. Be careful of the walls. I think CJ letting him through to get the DRS. That's quite smart from him. Dan Morris, meanwhile, he's gotten past Jess. I don't know when that happened, but he has, and now he's going to have the DRS and the ERS as we go onto the straight. They're going to go 3 wide once again on the straight, and I think CJ will keep the lead. Dan Morris is going to settle for P2 as, ooh, again, these guys keeping it very tight. They start going too wide side by side into turn 15. That was very risky. Here goes Dan Morris. They're going to try and go around the outside of CJ in the final corner as he starts lap 3. CJ going to defend the inside. He's gone deep though, very deep, to the fact that Dan Morris and maybe Lewis Craig can get past him. No, he can't. He has to sit behind us. Oh, Dan Morris loses the rear end. How has Lewis avoided that as Lewis and CJ go side by side? Can Lewis take the lead of the race despite having to squeeze past Dan Morris' spinning car? He can't for now. And Dan Morris went from 0 to 0 in the space of 2 seconds and has to settle for 4 for now. Lucky to have kept the car in a somewhat straight direction to the point where he is still in the fight for the lead of the race. Deck, by the way, in 5th place. Do not count him out, as RB, I think it was Daniel, has clipped his front wing, and yep, he's lost his front wing. As Jake Warrior are going to try and go around the outside. Oh, let's be careful here, boys. Let's cut to the leaders, though. This is where the main fight goes. We have got the top 5, all in the top 5 here in Vegas, and Lewis straight away past CJ on the straight. Watch out for Jess, though. She has got the exit, which she wants to go onto the straight. Dan Morris, also don't count him out. Here they go on the straight. Is CJ going to take the lead? He is. But what about Dan Morris? We go into turn 14 once again. CJ looks like he's taking the lead. A little bit of contact between him and Dan Morris. And luckily, I think there's no damage. But CJ has pulled a 1.3 second gap. A little bit of contact, obviously, between Dan Morris and Lewis. They've cost each other a fair bit of time, and it has helped CJ pull away that little bit more. So maybe these guys need to start working together a bit. If they want this win, they're going to need to push and fight for it. So on the straights, they need to just accept they're going to lose the position and slipstream each other back into the lead. Lewis sits back meanwhile. Deck and Jess fighting for 4th place. Deck around the outside of Jess moves himself into 4th place. Jess not having the race pace that she wants in this race, as CJ, I imagine, is pushing every single bit of those tyres to try and stay in that 1 second gap. Well, keep that 1 second gap away, and to keep it as 1.4 seconds at the moment, doing a pretty good job. But we go on to the long straight. Now this is where they need to work together. Lewis, what he needs to do, as there's a crash in the back, Darky has gone into the barrier. What Lewis needs to do is burn every single bit of straight line speed he can. I tell you what, actually, Dan Morris, he doesn't need any DRS. He is catching, well, was catching CJ a fair bit on the straight. Meanwhile, Jess and Deck fighting once again. Jess has the DRS and overtakes Deck once again, as Jack Craig and Bazza are fighting for P6. I'm not too sure what happened with Darky, but yeah, unfortunately, I just saw them go into the barrier. So, now this is where it's going to start getting strategic. 1.3 seconds is the gap, 1.2 seconds now. Will maybe the guys behind think about doing the undercut on CJ and get in the track position, the clear air? I guess we'll find Lucas joined the party, the session, a bit later than probably what he'd want to, but yeah. As Ivan, 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, not what he wants in the McLaren. But Dan Morris, 1.1 seconds behind CJ. He has the pace, but can he make it work? It's so close to getting into that DRS, but I'll tell you who is also getting close is Lewis Craig. He's maybe having a look onto Dan Morris. I'd sit behind, use all your ERS to get CJ's DRS, but I don't think he needs to, because I think, did Dan Morris get the DRS on CJ? It's going to be awfully close as we go into the DRS zone. I think he might have it. Has he got it? He hasn't got it, but I'll tell you who has got it. Oh, he has got it. He did get it. Sorry, I thought the DRS zone was earlier. It's not. So this now brings them straight back into the fight for the win. So, they're both getting really loose. Tyres are definitely starting to die off. I just realised Dan Morris on the hard tyres, so he's going long. CJ into the pits. He's the first driver to pit in this race. Out of the top 5 anyway. Doesn't speed into pit lane. Nicely done from the Haas driver. Now, will he come out in traffic? We'll find out in a bit, because Lewis and Dan Morris stay out. Now, they don't want to compromise each other. That's the last thing you want to do. I know you're both fighting for the title, but you also need to be aware of other competitors on the circuit. It looks like Lewis sitting behind from Dan Morris. CJ 5 seconds behind Jake and has a nice gap to Chris Johnson. Nice clean air for CJ. So I wonder how much that will help him in this race. Jess then out of DRS at the moment, near enough pulling away from Deck to settle with P3, but Dan Morris and Lewis fighting out for the win at the moment. Well, fighting out for the provisional lead. I don't know if it'll be net. We'll find out. CJ is catching Jake at a good pace, so I wonder if those tyres that he's on are going to cook. Here goes Lewis on the straight. It's these two just fighting out for track position for now, as Dan Morris is saving his DRS. Fairly simple move there from Lewis Craig to take the lead of the race. Meanwhile, just checking, what's CJ on? He went on to hard compound of tyres. Interesting. So softs maybe not the tyre to go on to, as Bazza passed Jack Craig. As talking about one of the Craigs, the other one decides to come into the pit lane. Lewis Craig into the pit lane then. Doesn't speed into the pit lane. Nicely done from the McLaren driver. Jess and Deck also peel into the pit lane. What is Lewis going on to? It is the hard compound of tyre. What about the others? Deck. He goes onto a set of softs. That's softs on there. Yeah, it's softs on the Aston Martin. So he is going for a massive gamble. Same with Jess. As CJ comes out in 6th place ahead of Lewis Craig, but hasn't got himself out the DRS. So, it hasn't really worked the undercut, and I tell you what, with Jess and Deck on the soft tyres, could they maybe catch up and get themselves into the fight for the lead of the race? It's definitely not out of the equation. This also almost helps Dan Morris, because they start fighting out, they're going to have the track to themselves. There you go, look at that, CJ already sliding into corners. Have a sip of a drink, because this is getting very intense. We thought tonight would get intense, and I'll tell you what, it's not the final race yet, but it's the second of the final race, and these guys are fighting for every position here in Las Vegas, as Lewis has the DRS, I imagine, on CJ. He is using it, but saving his DRS. As, by the way, little side note here, Jake over here, he's on the mediums, but if he decides to stay out, could be a little bit of a moving chicane to help his teammate of Jess, so maybe she can catch up if they play it smart. Dan Morris into the pit lane, he goes on to the medium compound, so different strategies here with the top 5 drivers. Dan Morris on the mediums, Jess Deck on the softs. There is been a spinner, it's Jack Craig, he is into the barrier and round. As Lewis meanwhile, can he get past CJ down the inside? No, he decides to sit behind for now, but Dan Morris 2 seconds behind, but has the faster tyres on and newer tyres. And I tell you what, don't count him out. He might be 2 seconds without DRS, but he's also got, like I said, better tyres. As a ban, another 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is not what he wants. As Jess, by the way, has caught up to Dan Morris. And I tell you what, this is going to get tasty. Because Jess, obviously quicker than Dan Morris on the soft compounded tyre, could be quicker than Lewis and CJ. Talking about CJ, has he got himself DRS from Jake? He does. Not going to change much as Bazar and Daniel are fighting out for the number 1 position, as Jess does get past Dan Morris into 6th place. Huge for Jess, as she now going to try and fight these guys ahead. As Jake trying to defend off CJ. I said that maybe this would happen. As CJ down the inside of Jake. Ooh, a little bit of contact between the two of them. He's definitely holding up CJ, but CJ, I think, has gone past. Oh, very wide right corner. Looks like he's gone past as Lewis Craig gets past Jake Gore, taking the racing line there. Almost like he wasn't going to be able to get past. I'll tell you what though, Jess almost gained a little bit. Dan Morris has gotten back past Jess. So, I'll tell you what, it's working. Because look at this, Dan Morris, 1.1 seconds behind Jake Warrior. Now Jake, is he going to let Dan and Jess through? Or is he going to maybe compromise Dan a bit here? I'm intrigued by what's going to happen here. Or has he got himself, is he going to get DRS from these guys? I don't think he will. Well, he might do. 8 tenths. No, he won't. So, here goes Lewis and CJ once again. Should be an easy move here for Lewis as Dan Morris gets past Jake Warrior. And is he going to get past CJ and Lewis? What a straight line speed he's got. He's just got to take in the net lead. What a move from Dan Morris. I didn't see. I didn't realise he was that close. He's gotten that close. And here goes Lewis. Can he go around the outside? He's gonna sit back, I think. But CJ just went from the net lead to net third place. Jake's done his job. He's brought Jess right back into it. Deck not so much. He's 1.1 seconds behind. So as yellow flags are out for Stereogram. But here we go then. We've got 3 laps to go of this Las Vegas Grand Prix. Here's another teammate, Bazza. He's now effectively going to be a moving chicane for CJ this time. It's getting more and more tastier for these guys. They've all got team orders going on here in Las Vegas. The only ones who don't, seemingly, is Dan Morris and Acorn. And that's because Ryan Berry isn't racing tonight. As we go on to the long straight again. There has been so many overtakes on this corner, on this straight. It looks like it might happen again. Bazza is actually going to give Dan Morris DRS here. Whether or not this is planned, I don't really know what there is to gain out of this. But he's going to do it anyway. Maybe slow down everyone going into turn 14. I don't think there's going to be any moves. They're all going to sit behind Bazza. What does he do? He's definitely maybe slowing down a little bit. I imagine he's going to peel into the pit lane. Is he going to peel into the pit lane or is he going to try and fight it? He's going to peel into the pit lane. Dan Morris takes the lead of the race, but here goes Lewis Craig. Is he going to go around the outside? He has to settle behind. These guys slightly falling back is CJ and Jess. I'll tell you what, Lewis Craig by far looks like the most raciest driver on the field right now, as he's got DRS again. But will he make the move on Dan Morris? He's saving his DRS. CJ isn't saving his DRS. Maybe having a little look up the inside. As look at this, Lewis nearly pushing Dan Morris into the corners. Dan Morris definitely ERS managing more than Lewis, I would say. What is everyone's ERS on? Jess is on, I'd say, 40%. Oh, that's Lewis going deep. Is CJ going to try and benefit out of that? No, he won't. CJ's on probably about 65, Lewis on about 35, and Dan Morris on about 55. So yeah, Dan Morris by far trying to manage his ERS more better than Lewis Craig. As we go on to the long straight again at Las Vegas Boulevard. As we go into the DRS zone, and then we open the DRS. Who is going to come out of this corner in the lead? Or who's going to come out in P2 in fact? CJ has a little bit of a run. So it's fine for now. Jess falling out of the DRS zone. It could be a top 3 fight for the win here in Las Vegas. As we go into the final corner. We go on to lap 12 here in Las Vegas. 2 laps to go. Who is going to win this race? Who's going to be in the championship lead by the end of tonight? We will find out in about 3.5 minutes here in Las Vegas. Lewis, DRS open. No moves being made, saving the DRS, as is, I think, everyone. This is where DRS games are played, by the way, as well. Dan Morris could easily let Lewis Craig through and then get DRS the next lap. So this is where mind games start. This is where everything starts, pretty much. This is where it gets really, really tasty. As we go into turn 10 and then 11. There is also a constructors fight, by the way. We'll go over that after, if it isn't already over. Completely forgotten about it all. Look at that, Dan Morris getting very loose on the rear end. And this should be an easy move for Lewis if he decides to sit back. He has to be careful because I know for a fact CJ will definitely be looking at this going, I need to get P2 this lap if I want any chance of winning the race. Here goes Lewis Craig. Is he going to take the lead of the race as Dan Morris and Lewis go side by side into turn 14? Lewis goes up the inside, actually went wide, and this gives Dan Morris the inside line, and he takes the lead back from Lewis. But Lewis, DRS open, he's going to try and take the inside line of the final corner, but has to sit back for now. It's practically pushing him into the corner. There's a little bit of contact between the two of them. CJ maybe having a little sneak around the outside of Lewis. Sits back for now. These two are going side by side into turn 4 here in Las Vegas. Who's it going to win this race? Is it going to be Dan Morris? Is it going to be Lewis Craig? Or will it be CJ? Or can Jess pull something out of the bag? For now though, as we go onto the first straight, no one making any moves. It's all going to happen in the final 2 sectors in this race. It's getting tasty, it's getting tensiony here. And who is it going to be as we go into turn 9 and in? 10 and 11, this is the most important parts. You cannot lose time through here. You need to nail this breaking point, because the exit is all that matters. Dan Morris, how does he take the exit? Pretty nicely. All of them do it pretty nicely, apart from Jess, who got a bit wobbly on the rear end. Here they go though, on the straight. They've all saved up their ERS. They've all got DRS. They've all actually burned it. As we go onto the Las Vegas Boulevard, Lewis Craig goes sides by sides. He's definitely got Dan Morris. Is CJ going to get Dan Morris as though he sends it down the inside? There's contact. There's more contact. They've both crashed with each other. That is Dan Morris facing the wrong direction. CJ's managed to keep P2 on the circuit, but it's Lewis Craig who will win here in Las Vegas. He is your winner tonight in Las Vegas. CJ P2, though that will be controversial. Jess in P3, Deck P4, and Dan Morris at the end P5, still in the top 5. But I said there would be chaos and sends, which are a little bit too far, and that was one where CJ arguably maybe went too far. Stewards will definitely have a look at that. Bazza P7, Daniel P8, and then we cut to Jake Warrior all the way down in 9th, Jack Craig 10th, and Stereogram 11th. But Lewis Craig is the winner of your Las Vegas Grand Prix. He needed that in the championship. So I didn't expect that. I thought maybe a send was happening from CJ, and well, it did happen, but I didn't expect them to crash. And I tell you what, that is a huge dent in Dan Morris's title hopes. I think Lewis doesn't take the lead of the championship. I think CJ does for now. I think it might be Jess. I don't know, I can't do maths. We'll find out in a minute. I shall do the maths very quickly unless someone else can do them for me. Oh, in fact, someone has done them for me. Dom. So, CJ, at the moment, your championship leader from Dan Morris by 1 point. Jess, also 251. It is 2 points separate CJ, Dan Morris, Jess, and Lewis. 2 points. It goes CJ, Dan, Jess, and Lewis. Lewis on 250, Jess and Dan on 251, and CJ on 252. Fastest lap could change that by a point though. Could be Lewis, and that will that would make it more interesting, wouldn't it? As are we going to? We're going to skip the podium. I apologise, but it's because otherwise we will not see the results. Jess gets the fastest lap, so she takes the championship lead. CJ's gone. I think he's gone to watch the football. So I think that means unless Jess doesn't get any points, Jess is our title leader. So Lewis Craig wins from CJ, from Jess, who gets the fastest lap. Deck in P4, Dan Morris P5, Chris Johnson P6, Bazza P7, Daniel Wheelknight in 8th, Jake Warrior 9th, Jack Craig 10th, Stereogram 11th, and then Ivan Tonsik, Darky, and Kaya, all your DNFers in this race. But Lewis Craig, he has got himself right back into the title fight. Whoever wins the race probably wins the title. It is like Abu Dhabi all over again in 2021. Maybe it's Abu Dhabi 21 and Abu Dhabi 2012. 2010. It's literally both scenarios put into one, and that is that. Until we go to Silverstone, which will be in about 5 to 10 minutes. I need a drink severely because my throat has gone severely dry. I normally have a sip, but I normally have a microphone button where I can mute myself, but I have to go into the settings to do it. I will be back in approximately 20 seconds as I have a sip. Right, I'm back. I'm assuming you couldn't hear that. I don't know. We're still loading in, which is taking its time because a lovely PlayStation 4 doesn't like me very much. There we go. We're in. We'll be on One Shot Quali where we will watch on board with Lewis Craig. Is Dan Morris going to hang about? Is CJ going to hang about? I don't think CJ is. Which I know Tottenham are playing, and I understand they could win their first ever trophy in forever, if ever. But you know, you're literally leading the championship along with Jess. Is by 2 points. Why make the sacrifice? You could put it on both. But we will not judge everyone to their own. CJ, I believe, isn't racing, so it's all down to, I presume Dan Morris is still going to race by the fact he's still in the lobby. It will be Jess, who is your championship leader, from Dan Morris, and then Lewis. Deck, I think he's out of the championship, right? 252 take away. I've got my little calculator up. 31 points, yeah. I think he physically cannot make the win. So he is out of the championship, as is CJ, I believe, unless he decides to turn up last minute, which I don't think he's going to do. Bazza says ready up. It is over for CJ. He is going to need, I think he takes the lead technically by the amount of wins, but he's going to need literally everyone to DNF, which around Silverstone, I don't imagine so. It's not Monaco. If it was Monaco, could see completely happening, but not around Silverstone. There's too much space. Bear in mind it's 14. If you're finished in the top 14, you get at least 1 point. So, you know, yes, as Jack has confirmed, Deck is eliminated. This has gotten very tasty, and I am looking forward to this a lot. We will watch on board with Jess. I normally watch on board with the winner from last race, but with Jess being the title leader, it's a title leader. It is pretty much whoever wins all. So we will watch on board with Jess on her lap. So we will load into qualifying soon. Now, we know Silverstone, we know Great Britain in general. It likes to rain. Now, will there be any rain? That will really change up everything. And that will hurt CJ's soul, because he performs really well in the championship. In the rain. But it's dry here in qualifying. Chris says Silverstone final. Don't have good memories of a previous season, so I presume he must have lost the title around here. So only one driver can win this championship, and we're going to find out in about 25 minutes, maybe not even that. It's 35% race here. Very quickly, just going to have a look at the constructors. I think Red Bull might have it in the bag because CJ's not racing. I don't know. Guess we'll find out. Anyways, this is where we watch Silverstone, and I don't know any of the corner names. Let's watch on board with Jess, hopefully, in a second, as the drivers go into turn 1, into Abbey, and then Farm into turn 2. Clip the apex nicely, Village, and then the loop into turn 4. And then entry in turn 5. This doesn't have corner numbers on it annoyingly, so I'm just going to go through the names into Aintree, and then Brooklands, very famous Brooklands. This is where we go on to the straight, the Wellington. Oh, it's not the Wellington straight; it's the other one. Sorry. And then where Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen crash together. Cops. Nicely done by Jess so far. It currently is leaving her in P2 as we go through Maggots and then Beckett's before going on to Chapel to go on to the Hangar Straight. Decently done so far by Jess, as she is in P3. And neatly done so far as she goes into Stowe. Don't run wide through here, you used to be able to do it years ago. You'd get away with it. Into Vale. Final few corners. Who is going to take pole position? The final pole position in TGP2 history. It's going to be Lewis Craig, who's going to take pole position here in Silverstone. And this is a great start to Lewis's championship hopes. As it stands, if this result was to stand, Lewis Craig will be your champion here tonight. But it's only qualifying. If you don't get points on a Saturday, you get them on the Sunday, as the famous saying goes. So, Lewis at the moment, he has all the pressure behind his back. 4/10 was the gap between Lewis and Dan Morris in P2. Jess in the end, third place. Didn't look that bad of a lap, to be fair. Luca in P4, Daniel in 5th, Jake in 6th, Deck 7th, Bazza 8th, Chris Johnson 9th, and Ivan 10th, 19 seconds behind. Jack Craig, Kaya, Darky and Stereogram all without a lap. And so, very, very good lap from Lewis. Maybe we should have watched on board with him, because he has nailed that. 26.9, actually a very good lap from the Scotsman. So yeah, we now load into the race. Is it dry? Is it wet? We'll find out in a split second. It is dry. It's a nice sunny day in Silverstone, as is it this afternoon, well, this evening. Hope everyone is enjoying the weather, if you have decided to leave the house, or I'm sure most of these guys have been ignoring the sun and have been practicing for tonight. For some of these guys, it'll be the final time they touch the game. And for some of them as well, some of the PS4 guys, I know Kaya and probably a few others, don't have a PS5, which means it might be their final time ever league racing, which is a shame. Hopefully we'll see some of them back. Hopefully we'll see TGP2 back. But we don't have any plans so far, I don't believe. So, as they all pick their race strategies, we will be going in about 10 seconds, maybe less, as we watch the stewards. They're bored, they want to get racing, they're excited, as we all are, as 2, 3, 4, 5 for the final TGP2 race. Who's going to win the title? It's lights out here in Silverstone. Who gets the better start? It looks like Luca might have. There's already a crash behind, but it's Luca who takes the lead of the race as the safety cars crashes. Jess and Lewis both have contact. Dan Morris takes second place. What happened between Jess and Lewis? I'm not too sure. I think Lewis might have lost the rear end. I think Luca might have been involved in that as well. But already a dramatic start in this race. Luca then, your race leader, and as it stands, Dan Morris will win the title. Jess and Lewis as well. 10-second time penalty. We cannot take that off their top race time. They need to pit, and they will serve it in the pits. So, as it stands, your championship order is Dan Morris, Jess, and Lewis. So that is your championship order. As it stands, Dan will win it. But it's lap 1, there's a safety car. It's practically just a formation lap. I imagine we're going to see Jess and Lewis both peel into the pit lane. Get that done. Because it's such a slow stop around here that you just cannot have that in the race. I'm just going to watch back what happened. I'm intrigued to see what happened, because it was a very messy start. It looks like Jess ran into the side of Luca's rear end and then just lost it. And I think Dan Morris actually might have had a bit of contact with Jess himself. He did, Jess. Does he have better damage? He does. He's lost the front left end plate. All the championship leaders are having to pit, and they are. Apart from Lewis, who's deciding he wants to take the gamble. Despite the 10-second time penalty, he's not losing track position. He's going to stay in the front of the field, but with a 10-second time penalty. I don't see the point in it. The Deck also in the pit lane, so pretty much the top 5 all into the pit lane, with Kaya and Darky being the exceptions. So Dan Morris front wing repairs. Jess having to serve her. Oh, she's got a front wing changes. Oh no, it's Darky. So Jess will go behind Kaya. Dan Morris comes out in 11th and Deck comes out in 10th. So yeah, Luca, great start. He did nothing wrong in that start. He just went for it. Jess just unfortunate, really. Ran into the back of his rear tyre and yeah, racing incident really, flat one. Well, that's my perspective of it anyway. There's a reason why I don't get called as a steward though, so... Right, so we wait for everyone to join the queue. I think Darky should, by the end of the lap, catch up, but we'll see. As Luca takes us around in the lead of the race, so great start for him. I did say we might have someone else get in the way, maybe cause a little bit of chaos, and Luca, out of everyone, I didn't expect it, maybe being the one to cause such chaos. I've said before, I think Luca could have definitely fought for the title had he not been so unlucky with some of the spins, and I think he missed a few races, but yeah, because his pace is brilliant, but just sometimes cannot transfer it into the race. I'm really surprised that Lewis hasn't pitted. I'm really surprised what's going on here with Chris and... oh, with Van Spitten. Oh, he's got front wing damage. Has he done that under safety car? He has. Interesting. Who else has that under pits? Someone else has followed. There is a Ferrari of Darky. And I'm questioning how he's done that under the pit lane. Kaya's also into the pit lane. So this helps Dan and Jess more. Helps Jess more because she had Ivan and Kaya ahead of her. She doesn't have that anymore. It is Dan Morris and Jess together, which maybe evens it out. So I guess we'll find out. We'll find out, and we'll find out. So yeah, this will be interesting. If you look at this, without the penalty on the board, Lewis is in the best position. But the 10-second penalty, I'm really surprised he's decided to take that risk. It's such a slow pit lane around here. I think it's like a 28-second pit lane. I think, something like that. It's really long. Let's have a look. Silverstone pit lane. Seconds. It is a Silverstone. Oh, 21 seconds. I thought it was longer than that. Anyway, it's the longest pit lane in Formula 1, along with Japan, I think it is. But I'm going to remove that. Remove that thing. I know people get annoyed at me if I leave it on there too long. So, yes, apologies. We should be getting... Are we going to get on? That McLaren's quite far behind. Actually, what did they go on? So, Jess and Dan Morris both on hard, so it's Deck. Interesting. And the other guys ahead are on the soft tyres. I'm going to leave that actually on tyres. Just keep that on there for now. Actually, I'm going to move it. Anyway, I'm being fussy. Here we go then, all the cars weave. Luca, we know, likes a slow restart. We found that out last week in Mexico. A few drivers weren't very happy about it, but well, they're going to have to deal with it because it was perfectly legal last week, and I'm sure it's perfectly legal this week, tonight. In Silverstone, it's a great restart from Luca. Look at that. Already 6/10 he has gained on Lewis as he comes through the final corner. Nicely done there from the Williams driver, already nearly a second ahead of Lewis. And well, he's bolted. Further behind, Jake Warrior and Baza maybe fighting. Let's look on board with Dan and Jess. Dan has not had a great... Ooh, a little bit of contact with Darky, Darky's sending it down the inside of Jess. He makes the move, can Jess fight it back? No, she can't. She's now behind Darky. She did not need that in this race. Dan, I'll tell you what, he's not looking very quick. He's actually fallen off deck. As deck gets past Stereogram. 1.4 seconds off. So he's maybe got an issue or something. I don't know. But, as Luca takes us on to Intercops. It is 2/10 gap. One thing Lewis has obviously struggled with is penalties. This penalty could be part of the reason he loses the championship. Hopefully not though. I hope if it's going to be a way to lose the title, it be a fight or something. Here we go then, Lewis on the straight. Has to sit behind for now. Surprised he's not going for the move more quickly. As Jake Warrior, by the way, P4 passes Bazza in P5. Let's cut to the guys behind as Darky, very quick so far. He's actually quicker than Dan Morris as it stands. Lewis fastest lap of the race. That could be crucial. You never know. As it stands, if you finish this race, you will get points. So. One thing these guys all need to do is finish the race. But at the moment, Darky looking very quick, and Dan Morris probably doesn't want to see the Ferrari in his rear view mirror. Because I think these two might have crashed a few times. Darky in himself, he has had a fair few crashes in the recent weeks. And Dan Morris probably doesn't want to have a crash, not when he's fighting for the title. As it stands, he probably is your title leader as it stands. He goes a bit wide. Darky has a little bit of a run. He's sitting behind though, actually. I'm quite surprised by that. He's actually caught up to Deck, who Deck's also 2 seconds behind Jack Craig. Those halves are not it. The pace on him is really, really poor. But it could help the likes of Lewis in this instance, because it means he will have the better tyres. He's going to try and go around the outside. No, he's not. He's actually... Oh, good save from Lewis, but that is costly. He's now down to third place. He's also going into the pit lane. Out of all that, he's pitted so early that he's not really lost anything. So Lewis now pits. He's going to serve a 10-second time penalty, fall right to the back of the grid. And I'm starting to wonder, is this potentially race the championship over for Lewis Craig? Anything could happen. We've still got safety cars which can be used, but it could definitely be a bit more costly for Lewis, who I think is going to come out last on the circuit behind Stereogram. But Dan Morrison on the back of Deck. I'm actually really glad that Dan Morris has decided to race. There was rumours that he wouldn't. He was worried maybe his missus wouldn't be too happy. But, well, she must be quite happy, because at the moment, her husband's leading the championship as it stands. So, here we go then. He's sat behind Deck. Not going to make any moves as of yet. 2 temps separate Deck and Dan. If they go through Maggots and Beckett's, I think Dan might be able to get past him on the straight. I tell you what though, let's not forget Darky, who has decided to make the worst corner cut in human history. I think that was like Science did that. Anyway, Dan Morris, can he go around the outside of Stowe? He's definitely going to give it a go. Dan Morris. Oh, Deck's actually given him quite a fight. He's going to send it down the inside of Dan Morris. And move successfully done. Dan Morris up to P7. Now has a nice gap as Jess gets past Darky, who has crashed out. He retired on the circuit. I think he has. And that's not the greatest thing you want to see. He's just done it for the pause menu. Anyway, he doesn't exist. Dan Morris then. So he needs to get those hards working. What did Lewis go on in the end? Hards as well. Wow, okay. I think that's not a great choice. I think mediums might have been the better choice because those hards are so slow. These guys, Dan Morris is losing time to Chris at the moment. There is nothing good in those hard tyres. But yeah, it's working for Dan as it stands, as Jess has gotten past Dan Morris. Not Dan Morris, Deck. As she wants to try and fight Dan Morris for this title. She is definitely not out of the equation as of yet. As we go on to the hanger straight again. DRS is open for Jess, which means she will stay with Dan Morris for the time being. Didn't actually gain that much time from DRS, surprisingly. So maybe it's not as strong as it normally is on this game. Maybe she's using a bit of a higher wing setup. Maybe quick in the corners. At the moment, she has gone out of the DRS. There's a yellow flag. Stereogram has gone off, but nevertheless, 10 laps to go in this race. Nothing is over, apart from these hard compounds, which, I mean, look at this. Ivan in the softs is quicker than Deck, Jess, and Dan Morris. He's been quite, not the quickest driver this season, yet he is managing to compete with the front runners. That says it all. I know the softs are always going to be quicker than the hards, but like the hards are struggling so much, and it's quite surprising actually. I thought, okay, easy hards to the end. I didn't realise they'd be this slow, and I don't think Lewis wants to see that either. He's probably feeling them, thinking, God, this isn't great. Jess, meanwhile, really good lap and 3-second time penalty. Has he pitted? I presume he has. He's actually in a really good position. He has. He's in a brilliant position as it stands. Showing about the 3 seconds. So it's here we go then. On to the camel straight, the hanger straight. Will Jess maybe have a look up the inside of Dan Morris? She's gonna have a go. Oh, I can't do the move. And she sits behind as Jake Warrior pits. I thought he was having a spin, but he isn't. There we go, at the stands. Dan, Jess, Deck, and Ivan are your, I think, net fourth. So saying that, right, this is going to be interesting. When Luca pits, where's he going to come out? Because the undercut is clearly not great. Then again, Lewis came out unusually far behind. I don't know. I guess we'll find out in a few laps. I imagine he'll pit in a few laps. As we go on to the hanger straight. Jess has the DRS open again. Can she make a move? No, she cannot. There's another yellow flag. Stereogram again. He needs to be careful he doesn't cause a safety car. So, in the chat, how many people have we got watching? We have 7 people watching. Who do you think is winning this championship? Who do you want to see winning this championship? Because it's definitely not over yet. I can tell you that for a fact. Okay, Lewis might be 12 seconds behind Jake Warrior, but safety car can change everything in a click of a finger. So, here we go. Jess, can she get the run on Dan Morris? Dan Morris, not the greatest exit from Jess, but it looks like Jess is going to sit behind for now. I think for now she's quite happy to just sit behind, keep the DRS, and be on her way. So, like I said, Ivan, he's managing to keep up with the front guys. I know he's on softs, but it does show what is... Okay, let's watch these medium guys. I'm intrigued by what their pace is like as well. Those hards are just not it. I'm just looking at these guys. Okay, medium, soft, medium, hard, hard. Okay, anyway, let's cut to these guys. Apologies, I just wanted to see people's tyres. I could have just gone on the menu. Here goes Dan Morris then, again, on the hanger straight. Not hanger. My mind's got a blank. Wellington straight. I really don't know what's wrong with me today. I'm really out of it. I keep forgetting straights. But for now, we go on to the old start-finish straight. They use this straight for GT races. Been on it before. Very nice bit of racing track. As Jess, I tell you what, she is looking quicker than Dan Morris in stands. Like a lot quicker. She seems to have the pace over him. apart from when you go wide like that and get a really poor exit, this might help Deck. What is Deck going to do? I think Deck wants Jess to win the title. I think that's slightly coming off the fact that he didn't make the move when he could have easily done it. Maybe he's just staying out of the way, doesn't want to get involved. Guess we'll find out. Luca, by the way, into the pits. Now, we said about the tyres. I did forget these guys did their stops and the safety car. But Deck 3-second time penalty, that's his chances of anything really going away, because I'm sure these guys are going to be fairly consistent on their tyres. So, as it stands, Bazza is leading the race from Chris Johnson. Is Chris Johnson pitted? He hasn't. Okay, I thought some of these guys might have pitted by now, but they haven't. What have I done? Didn't even know you could do that. It's yellow flag. It is Stereogram getting out of the way. Jess trying to make a move on Dan Morris against the other side. A little bit of contact between Dan and Jess, but luckily no one goes off. Deck is really not wanting to get involved. To be honest, I don't think I would as well. What's on stake in the final race of the race? You do not want to be getting involved. But Jess definitely seemingly wanting to get past now. She's thinking, I've got the pace now, I could probably pull away from these guys. And she goes through Maggots. And Beckett once again. Again, very wide. She really does struggle with Chapel. A Stereogram 3-second time penalty. Is she going to maybe have a look on Dan Morris? Is she going to go around the outside at Stone? No, she won't. She'll sit behind. Is that Lewis Craig? No, that's not. It's Ivan who's gone off. I thought it looked like quite a good race from him. Has unfortunately gone off the circuit and has dropped all the way down into 9th place, which has probably become 10th because Jake's going to have a run on the straight. There we go. But Chris now pits. Bazza is still your race leader for now. He hasn't pitted though, so wouldn't worry about him too much, unless he's going to try and cause some massive chaos to try and get CJ the win, but I somewhat don't believe that would happen. I know Bazza, he can really help his teammates, but he's not that type of driver to really go full on out. Here goes Jess again, on the Hangar Straight, not the Hangar Straight, the Wellington Straight, as we go into Luffield, and not looking like she can get a run on Dan Morris so far. We've got a nice little helicopter camera watching these three go at it into Cops. We've got 6 laps to go in this race. We'll go through Maggots and Beckett's once again. Onto the Hangar Straight. This is definitely the Hangar Straight again. Jess really does struggle. I'm not too sure why. Is Deck actually going to have a look? Don't think he really, like, he knows he's quicker, but he's not wanting to. He's settling back. He doesn't want to get involved. Like I said, I don't blame him, but at the same time, you know, might as well get involved. And Luca gets past Kaya, who, by the way, having a great race in P6. Fair play to him. Can he maybe get a good result out of tonight? He might have a penalty, but yeah, we'll keep an eye on Kaya. But for now, we are, and probably will be for the rest of the night, be looking onwards to our title fighters. Lewis, meanwhile, down in 11th place as the yellow flag for Jack Craig, who's lost the rear end. Will Jess maybe have a look on Dan Morris again? No, she's not. I wonder if she's going to stay behind until the final lap and then just bolt past him. It does work. It does work, and believe me, I've done it enough times in TGP1 before. To Casper's annoyance, it's always versus him. So, yeah, we've got 6 laps to go in this race. I said that last lap. It's definitely 6 laps now. No, it's not. It's 5 laps. Oh my god. Right. Here we go then. On to the Hangar Straight again. Can Jess get a move on with Dan Morris? I don't believe it will be this lap, as she sits behind once again. We've got a yellow flag again. I think that is Jack again. Might be Bazza into the pit lane. which means Dan Morris now officially takes the lead of the race. So I'm intrigued to see what these guys' tyres are looking like as well. There's a little graphic this game gives you where it's like showing the tyre life, but it never seems to pop up when I want it to. But we've got 4 laps to go in this race. And Jess looking in a good position, but Dan Morris, as it stands, has been, at the moment, the better position. As we go onto the Wellington straight once again. She will open her DRS for, I presume, the 13th lap running, because she hasn't really been in clean air at all. She's always had a car ahead of her. And that car has been, for the majority of it, Dan Morris. So this is quite an interesting fight. Deck in this fight. I don't think he expected to be in this fight. I tell you what, he might end up. If he wins the race, he might finish ahead of CJ, the Stereogram DNFs in the pit lane. I think this is the final lap. A safety car could come out. So Lewis, he's got his fingers and toes crossed as he tries and begs anyone to cause him a safety car. He hopes that Latifi can come out, but Jess again with the DRS. She's going to sit behind. She cannot make a move into Stowe this lap. She is running out of laps to make the move, but is she playing it smartly? Well, Dan was going to pit then. He had a little bit of a wobble. As we start 15 out of 18 laps. Jake Warrior gets past Kaya in P6. But these 3 have been the same 3 for the last 15 laps. Well, I wouldn't say 15. But nevertheless, Stereogram leaves the session. That is his race and season over. Not been the great season for Stereogram, but nevertheless, he turned up every race and did his best. And that I respect. A lot of drivers don't do that. They just have one bad race, DNF, come back next week. Jess, meanwhile, all over the back of Dan Morris. She is seriously looking good in this race. She's got the pace. I think she knows what she's doing. I wonder if Dan knows what she's doing as well. I guess we'll find out. The question is as well, there's 2 straights. You've obviously got the Wellington straight. You've also got the Hangar straight. So Jess could make the move on the Wellington straight, and Dan just goes Uno reverse on the Hangar straight and takes the place back. But I guess we'll find out. And she's got her DRS open again. Yellow flag for Ivan. Oh, she's actually touched the gravel a little bit there. I wonder if she was actually maybe looking at a move. Not too sure. But as she goes through the final 2 corners, Badder gets past Kaya. Kaya's at the moment still P8, decent. Might drop down to 9th, but I'm sure he won't mind that. I think that's a good result from him after the season he has had. 2 laps to go in Silverstone then. Who is going to win this title? Is it going to be Dan Morris, or will it be Jess? Or will it somehow be Lewis, who I would be shocked if he can somehow win the title. Jess, best run she's had so far. She's going to try and go around the outside. Is Dan Morris going to push her wide? She's going to give it a go. Sits back to now. So that's the first proper attempt we've seen from Jess in a number of laps. I do wonder if Dan Morris now starting to think, is Jess going to try and wait until the final lap? Are they thinking the same thing? Because this could become DRS chicken on the final lap of the race. But we've still got 2 laps to go here in Silverstone as Ivan retires in the pit lane, so that won't be a safety car. I don't think a safety car could come out now if we wanted one, but I don't think we need one. We've got these 2 fighting it out for the title. Whoever wins this, I thought Jess was going to send it down the inside there. Might have not scared Dan, but she definitely dummied me. As yeah, I think this is a good position. Lewis has been ruined by the safety car. I really don't understand what he was trying to plan with the pit stop. I shall be asking him, because that has, I think, cost him any chance of the title. I imagine if Jess was to get past Dan, would Dan report Jess for the lap 1 incident? I do wonder, because that could... I don't really want the championship to go down under the stewards, but it could definitely. As we'll just maybe have a look on the straight. It's getting to the point now. She's starting to sit behind. This is where the strategy games go. Dan Morris wants to get Jess ahead of him, ideally, so that he can have the DRS on the straight and he can take the lead of the race and the championship, really. Jack Craig, meanwhile, facing the wrong way. Pretty bad race from Jack. Once again, he has these like random really good performances, and then he has races like this where he just spins and the consistency disappears. But here we go then, on to the Hangar Straight. Will it be Jess or will it be Dan Morris as we'll start the final lap of TGP2, for now at least. Have a sip of water before we get to this final lap. Because here we go then, on to the final lap. At the moment, Dan Morris is going to win the title. Lap 18 out of 18. Final time in Silverstone. Who's going to win this race? Will it be Dan Morris or will it be Jessica Bull? Whoever wins this race wins the title, unless they both DNF, in which case it'll be Lewis. Here we go then. This is both the laps of their lives here. As will Jess make the first opportunity here on the Wellington Straight. She has a DRS open. Will she try and make the move? She sits behind for now. She did burn her ERS there, so she was definitely maybe looking for the move, but it all will go down, I imagine, to the Hangar Straight. Don't count out Deck as well. He might try and, you know, have a sneaky move on one of them, if he dares, which, oh, would that cause some arguments. Here we go then, into Cops. And then we'll enter Maggots and Beckett's for the final time here. Jess is in a perfect position. She just needs to make sure that Chapel goes her way. It looks good from her. Here she goes. She's going to have the DRS. She's going to have the ERS. This is her final chance to take the championship lead. She has taken the championship lead on the final lap. Has Jess just won the TGP2 title? Here she goes into the final two corners. She enters Vale, leaves Vale, into the final two corners. Jessica Bull is your TGP2 champion here in Silverstone. She is going to be absolutely amazed. What a championship fight for Jess, and she is your champion of TGP2 season 37. Wow, what a great season from Jess. She only won, I think, 2 races, if that, and she has now won the whole championship. What a drive from Jess. Dan Morris takes P2. He tried his best, but in the end his best wasn't enough. I think actually Deck might have actually passed him as well. And Lewis Craig, he's doing donuts for us. He tried his best. He gave it him all. He had his broken finger and all. So in fairness, I think it was a good campaign from Lewis as he finishes behind with his brother behind him. But Jessica Bull is your champion of TGP2, potentially the final season of TGP2 and TGP on the F1 game. And she, Jess, is your champion. And wow, what a campaign she's had. I'm absolutely very happy for her. This might be her first league race win as well, in which case it's even better for her, isn't it? Try to find my phone, find out. Everyone was thinking, if it's going to be one person, it will be Jess. And well, she's done it. She has done it. And she celebrates on the podium in a minute, where she will hold, I'm hoping, the championship trophy. I don't know if we'll just pretend it's the championship trophy, as hopefully it will load. Please load. There she goes, Jess Gamer. Jessica Bull, she stands on the top step of the podium. She has won the championship here in TGP2. She is going to be delighted, and she looks down on her team but they don't matter. They just put a skin on a car. It's all her. She is a woman here in TGP2. This will be, I believe, the first female to win a TGP title as well. So you love to see it, as hopefully we'll be able to see the results if the game loves us enough. I have a feeling we might not, which is unfortunate. Casper says, "Go Jess," and I think the majority of the viewers, apart from Dan Morris fans, will be saying the same. And that is what it tops what has been a brilliant season of TGP. We do get the results. Jessica Bull, title winner. She wins the race. She wins the title in the same night, in the same track. We don't get to see the other results, but Dan Morris in P2 and Deck in P3 is your podium. And yeah, what a race. That is absolutely brilliant. And my old co-commentator, Cam Armstrong, says, "Vamos, Jess. Vamos indeed." As we wait for the clock to tick down to 0 to take us to the menu for the final time on F124, potentially the final time on TGP. I want to personally thank Dom for letting TGP run all these years. I only joined like 3 years ago, but it's been great 3 seasons, and well done to Jack, and thank you, Jack, for bringing back TGP2. It has been a privilege to commentate over it, and one I definitely won't forget. That's for sure. This season especially has been crazy. What a season to end on. It's good to see the final TGP2 race, season, finish on such a high, which you always want. You don't want the season to end in domination and all that lot, do you? So yeah, that is the final TGP2 race. What a season. I have thoroughly enjoyed that, and I don't think we'll ever get a season like that again. That was just outstanding. I'm hoping maybe Jess might have streamed it, so maybe we might find a clip of her celebrating. We all want to see it, but I guess we'll see. We also have to give credit. We might as well give credit for the top 5. So obviously, Jess won the title. If we can get the other, so Dan Morris, obviously P2. Very, very good fight at the end. Obviously missed a few races, and that might have been what cost him the title. But then we could say the same about everyone. CJ in 3rd again, could have won the title had he not decided to pick Tottenham. But as it stands, Jess won the race either way, and she's still the championship winner. Lewis P4 again, safety car. Not the best move from Lewis there, but he finishes P4 with Deck in P5. That is your top 5 for now. I don't think anything changes from that result. Luca finished ahead of Chris Johnson, keeps him in 6th. I can't do the rest of the results, but as it stands, I think the championship goes Jess, Dan, CJ, and Lewis, and then Deck. That's your top 5, I'm pretty sure. But that is TGP2 complete. I want to thank everyone once again for watching, for sticking around for the season. Dom and Jack, and everyone who drove as well. Everyone deserves credit. And yeah, it's been a brilliant season, brilliant fun commentating. We will all see you around at some point. I don't know what events Dom has lined up for us, but we'll see. We'll see. I know there's the Rally, the FIFA, and Gran Turismo. I don't know if that's getting streamed, but that is in September. So maybe join us around if that is streamed. But for now, thank you all for watching. Have safe travels, and we'll hopefully see you soon. Have a good night.